Hey everyone, today we're going to make a graphic similar to this one. Let's get it. Okay, the first thing we're going to do is open up Photoshop. Then we'll create a new file. I like to export mine out at 1080 by 1350, so I'm going to double that in size and then we'll export it out at that resolution. And then I like to have it 300 resolution. And then what we're going to do is import our reference image. So hit File and then click Embedded, and then you'll select your image, place. You should place it right on there for you. Hit Enter. All right, and the next thing we're going to do is make the background. So what you're going to do is go down here. You're going to select a solid white. I like to make mine just a little off white, not exactly white. Okay, then what we need to do is form these boxes real quick. So you're going to hit U, or you're going to select the box tool over here. What we're going to do is just drag these out. All right, and for this moment, I'm just going to do mine simple color like blue for the moment. Yeah, just hit Enter there. We'll have that. We'll call this top rectangle. And then just hit Command J. And the one that says the copy we'll take over here. And we'll hit Command T. Hold Shift so you can just drag that that side. Come up here, hold Shift, make sure you're just on that side. All right. That's what we have so far. Okay, now we're going to drag this down over here. We're going to name that lower rectangle. And what we're going to do, I'm going to change these colors to red. Make sure I get the same colors. I'm going to copy this right here. And then I'll go to the other rectangle and I'll make sure I Command B and paste it so the colors are matching. And as you can see, we'll eventually have make it a gradient, make these gradients. But all right, so right now that's what we're working with right now. Okay, so next we'll actually put the gradients on there. And it goes like a darker to a lighter at the top. So we'll double click over here. We'll go to our gradient overlay. That's pretty much what we want, but I'm just going to click reverse. And then I'll just hit OK. And double click on here. We're going to go to our gradient overlay. And that one looks to be reversed. So we're going to reverse that back. I hit OK. Okay, these are just beginning points. You can always go back and adjust, how much of each one that you want, but we're just moving along so I can kind of show you how I would put this together. Okay, next I'm going to add the actual players. I'm going to do one of Josh Allen and some of the records that he broke this year. We're going to put these on a graphic and make a post. Okay, so we're going to have the players that you have cut out, or you can import it and you can cut them out. I'll have a video up here of how I cut it out and the method that I use. You can even find it online if you search. But these are the images I chose. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to hide that front one. I'm going to select this. I'm going to right click and I'm going to make sure it's converted to a smart object. And you'll note by this little icon here. Once it's converted to a smart object, you want to go to Filter, Camera Raw Filter, or you can bring that up by hitting Command-Shift-A on a Mac. And the first thing you want to do is just go to the color right now, bring the saturation down, make it black and white. All right, and then with that, you want to make sure you're selected on the mask here for the smart filter that we just applied, which is just the black and white. And you want to hit P on your keyboard, or you can select the pen tool right here. And what we're going to do is we're going to select the jersey and we're going to make that back to color along with the logos here. We're going to bring those back to color and we're going to leave all the rest black and white. And I'll probably speed this up in the process, but I'll just show you a little bit of the steps and then I'll speed it up. Okay, but what we're going to do is we're going to select here in the jersey. And you can hold your click and move the curve till it selects right around. And then you can hit hold option, hit right there and then reset it. So you can move it how you want. You don't have to go too far. But that's how you would string it along. And then I'm going to speed it up and then I'll be back after that. Okay, once you get all that selected, you're going to hold Command and you're going to drag all along, make sure all the points are selected. And then you're going to right click. You're going to make a selection. And then you're going to hit G, or you're going to come over here and make sure you got your paint bucket. You got the paint bucket selected. Make sure black is on there because you're going to take away what is selected on this mask. So you're going to click, hit Command D, and then all the uniform and the logo have come back to color. And next thing we're going to do is right click on that, convert to a smart object. Again, we're going to hit Command-Shift-A, bring up the camera raw. This time we're going to go to the light. We're going to bring up the shadows, the contrast, go to the effects, bring up the clarity, give it some texture, and then just hit OK. All right, and that's going to be for the first image. And then we have Josh Moore dressed in regular clothes coming to the game. And we're going to hit Command-Shift-A. Go to the lighting. We're going to raise the shadows, the contrast. And we're going to go to the effects. Bring up the clarity. Give it some texture. And we're going to hit OK right now. Okay. So once you get to this steps, we'll move along to the next one. Okay, next we're going to add some highlights and some shadows to try to make the image pop out even more. Also, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to hide this image. We'll work on this back one first. We're going to hit our adjustment layers, and we're going to go to a curve. And what we're going to do is raise these highs up. Quite a bit. And then what we're going to do is create a clipping mask, and we're going to make it go just to the Josh Allen image. And then we're going to select the mask, and we're going to hit Command-I. We're going to invert it. So it's only going to apply it when we brush it on with our brushes. And so we're going to turn down the flow quite a bit because we want it just to be a subtle effect. At first, turn down the hardness to 0. Make sure you selected that. Make sure you're on your brushes, and make sure you have the white selected because we're trying to bring it back. And you see how it kind of just made that stand out a tad. You just click and drag and make sure you get the spots that you want. Kind of make it look like the light's hitting in certain spots. And even create the rim light effect with that as well. But you just want it to fade on, not be abrupt on it. You can get smaller. You can do like small areas like that on the lips. And it doesn't seem like much at first, but it does help the image stand out. And at least in my opinion. And you could do that for both the black and white, and we're gonna do that all on one. Some people would do it on different ones. You can, if you want, on different layers, and you can label them different. Make sure you label them what they are. But I'm just gonna do ours on one layer, and then on one player. So I kind of keep it organized that way. It works best for me, but whatever works for you. See the lighter parts where the light is hitting, we just want to make that just a little lighter, and you can see, especially when it's back, and the image is going to be exported down even smaller too. So, all right, and I'll either speed it up or just cut it off and to come back after I'm done. But that's basically what you want to do for that particular part. Okay, so you basically want to make the same type of layer with the shadows. Okay, you would just make the curve darker instead of lighter. And then with your brush tool, you would invert the mask, and then with your brush tool, make sure that you had the white selected and you're bringing it back out. And with the, It doesn't look like much, but when you have them together, it does really make the graphics stand out. And the shadows might even be a little strong, so I'm going to lower those. All right. And then basically you're going to do the same thing. You're going to select those and the image and hit Command G, and it'll group it into a folder. Make sure you name it so you know what it is. And then you're basically going to do those same things to this front image. To the highlights, you want to bring it out. The darks, make it maybe a little darker so it contrasts. So we'll be back after I do that. Okay, after you've added the highlights and shadows to that front image, the next thing I'm going to do is add another adjustment layer, and I'm going to go to Hue and Saturation. And what I'm going to do is create a clipping mask, make sure it's just on that image. And we're going to bring in some saturation, some color. To kind of make it stand out in the front there. All right. So now we got our images taken care of. Background pretty much made. The next thing we're going to do is add some font. Or rather, I'm going to add the shadows right to here right quick. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is make shadows underneath the feet. We're going to hit B on the brush tool, right click. We're going to make it so it's sort of like ground level. All right, then we're going to create a new layer and drop that below it. So the flows look around 20 in between there. The hardness is at 0. And you just want to click. All right, speed R. And then we can make maybe a bigger one in between. All right, and then we'll double click on there. We'll name that shadow. Then we can close this up. All right, and then that should all be layered together, move together. So once you get to there, we'll move on to adding some font to it. So you're gonna hit T on your keyboard, or you can just come over here and select it on the left-hand side. Just select, and I'm gonna make mine just be Arial, just normal. And I'm gonna write first player with, or most yards by most yards by a player with at least, or I'm just gonna put just some type of record that he broke this year, or the player that you want to do. So I'm just gonna put most yards by. Just gonna Command T, hold Shift, and we're gonna make that be a net like this. And I'm gonna shrink that down. Maybe make it a little taller. Yeah, we'll put that over there. And then we'll put a number just so we have so hit T again. And this time I'm gonna go to something like impact, just nice and bold. It's a nice bold number. that's basically how the design would be. I'll come back with some actual stats or some actual facts, and then we can see the two different types of fonts create their own design. Yeah, I'll come back with the actual stats that we're going to put here. Okay, these are the stats that I chose to go with. The first player with 1 passing touchdown, 1 rushing touchdown, 1 receiving touchdown in a single game. Now I'm just going to add some graphical things to these. I'm going to leave this black here, but I'm going to change like the ones right up in here. And what I'm going to do is select all of these. And I'm going to Command J. Oops, I'm sorry. Command G. And we're going to group them. I'm just going to name those stats. All right, in this first blue, we're going to do an overlay, a gradient overlay. So you're going to double click on that. And instead of doing red, we're going to choose to do blue. And let's do a lighter blue. And even lighter than that even. Okay, something like that. All right, and then we'll double click here. We'll do that same thing for the other ones. And let's try to change the other text to like a red maybe. Copy that so we can make them all the same. Right, looks all right now. Maybe we'll adjust these right here. I'll bring that in a little. With that one. Okay. And then I'm gonna select this one, Josh near in the front. So slide them over just a tad. All right. Next, I'm gonna try to add like some font here. I'll probably just go to like the Wikipedia paragraph about them. Just put in just to have something to put in here, just to kind of give it its graphic. All right, so I'll be back in just one moment on that. Okay, I just grabbed the first paragraph there from the Wikipedia, and I just pasted it in, and I used the font Helvetica, and so next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab this image in the back, and I'm gonna put a mask on there. Select the mask. We're gonna hit G. Go to the gradient tool, and we're gonna try to fade that on there. Actually, I'm gonna go to the brush. I'm gonna turn down the flow. I'm gonna turn down the hardness. Make sure that we have the black selected, and we're just gonna brush that on there, just so you can see that text a little bit better. All right. And then maybe even on the font that we put in there. And you want to drag that in between these images. Just have a little bit of it covered. But you want to double click over here or to drop shadow. It is pretty far out. Usually around 120 is pretty good. And we just want a little tiny bit, you know. Okay. All right, and there was another little rectangle. We go to our rectangles. Command J, drop it below that one. Command T, hold shift. You can change the size of it. Hold shift once you get that bended arrow there. And we're gonna rotate it like this. Hit enter. Name that one small lower. Okay. And actually, I'm not liking that drop shadow so much. Let's leave that like that. And I'm actually gonna make this rectangle a little smaller. Okay, then you see there's just some information right here about him. Just his number, the position, and the team. And then there's the longitude and latitude. I'll try to find that for Buffalo. And then lastly, we'll do is the name there for the graphics wise. So for this text in here, I'm gonna kind of go with, I think, the same type of font here. So I'm gonna hit T and just type out on the keyboard. And I'm gonna put number 17. All right, I'm gonna change that to white. I'm gonna slide it over here, Command T, we'll rotate it. we'll drag that behind him. Like so. And then I'll be right back with the latitude and longitude of Buffalo. Or actually, let's put his name in here real quick. So again, we're gonna say T on the keyboard. And we're gonna do Josh. Change that just to black, just so we can see it right now. I'm gonna change that to the impact. Command T. I'm gonna raise that. I'm gonna drag that also behind Josh, behind the background image. Maybe just a little larger. Okay, Command J. Drag it down below. And just double click it and just put in Allen. And we'll figure out the color that we're gonna do for them right now. We're just gonna leave that right there. There's a second. We're gonna need another rectangle. Command J. Drag that one below. Put that up there. Or Command J and make another one. All right, I'll be back with the latitude and longitude if I can find it, and we'll move on from there. Okay, this is the latitude, longitude for Buffalo, New York. I just copied that text over, did it in the same type of font, and just brought it over here on this side. Lastly, what I'm gonna do is add a gradient map. So we're gonna go to the adjustment layers, gradient map. So do a black and white one here. And then in the blending mode is when I'm gonna change it to overlay. And then I'm gonna drop down the opacity all the way. And then I'm gonna bring it back in. And just kind of level everything back out. All right, and then we're gonna add another one. This time I'm gonna give it orange teal. Then we go to blending layers. I'm liking the screen in this one. So I'm gonna drop that all the way down. And then we'll bring it back in. And right around there for me looks good. Lastly, I'm gonna add a curves on top of that. Grab some over here. Make those blacks a little darker. Make the highlights a little brighter. All right, that pretty much completes this particular graphic. Can't wait for the next Bills game. Josh Allen won the MVP. That's always a blessing. So we'll continue to make more graphics. Go Bills.